grows, as the readership grows, you should find it a little bit easier and easier to find sponsors or advertisers.
Yeah, well, I hope so. Like being on shows like this and also getting any publicity we have has been really helpful for raising awareness.
We're joined today by the founder and managing director of the monthly Daegu City Guide, Daegu Pockets. We'll be right back with more. Stay with us. Still to come, Craig White talks about the difference between the Korea we want to show and the Korea foreigners want to see. We're back for more with Craig White, the managing editor of Daegu Pockets. Now, even before publishing Daegu Pockets, you ran a website called 갈비찜.
Right.
And that was also an information-oriented website?
Yeah. Yeah. Basically, that's where the conceptualization of everything started, where it says I wanted to contribute and help with some of my experiences, but also other people that was involved with the documentation of and content development of galbijim, about sharing that with foreigners and getting more information out. And galbijim is actually more centered as a Korea-wide source. So if you're living in Anyang or in Sokcho and you found something that you want to share with other people, we've got you've got the ability to add and write about that. And over the past 4 years, it's really grown as a helpful resource. However, there's a lot of people that still don't know about that, and still maybe it's tough to take that off the internet and on the street. Usually when foreigners are in front of a computer, they're usually the most informed as they're ever going to be, because they've got all that access for internet resources. However, when they're on the street, usually that's when they need the information, and that's why we wanted to maybe have this as an offline way to have that kind of resource. And
you still run 갈비찜?
Yes, everything is still there. But however, this has been more of the focus. But we do have a really good, strong community there on galbijim, the forums and the wiki, and we've had some other spin-offs of other sites. KoreaBeat.com, which is one of our associate members' spin-offs, where he translates Korean news into English every day, which is also recently won the most popular foreigner blog in Korea, which is nice. So we're starting to use these ideas to expand, but offline is where it's at, I think, for right now, because foreigners need something offline material.
Now, you have said that the authorities in Korean tourism do not seem to be running their industry with the foreigners in mind. What did you mean by that? Why do you say that?
By no means, I'm not going to say I'm very, very extremely proficient with Korean, but I understand about the mindset a lot more, and as well from a marketing perspective. That I noticed that Korea marketing gets it comes from a domestic marketing perspective. So a lot of the content that's being written, a lot of the websites that have been made, basically the whole international market conceptualizing, it stems from their proficiency in domestic marketing. And I'm not too sure why that is, but I see a lot of domestic marketing being applied and similar domestic values being applied to international marketing and it's not connecting with that. If you're going to be marketing to foreigners, knowing English is not enough. Knowing how to market to foreigners, knowing the mindset is even more important.
So can you give us an example of what you think it is that we Koreans are trying to show foreigners versus what you think foreigners really want to see about Korea?
An example that I can say would be in Japan. There's a city, as you might know, is Kyoto. Kyoto is one of my favorite Asian cities. And the reason why is when you're walking down Kyoto, there's a massive amount of tourism, beautiful things there that are worthwhile seeing. But even when you're walking down the streets way away from the tourism areas and you look down the side street and it's still preserved. So it's attention to the details. There's things when I'm walking down downtown Daegu and I look down, I like to take a look down these alleys and see if attention is being made to the details where that kind of awareness, and it's not. And same with various aspects of Seoul. So I think Korea, foreigners, when we step into Korea, we want to be stepped into a sense of history and exoticness. But when you step into Gangnam and things like that, I mean, you're you're seeing Toronto, you're seeing
yeah.
you know, Los Angeles, and it doesn't feel as exotic. And there needs I think we wish to have more preservation of that natural history.
So you're saying foreign tourists, foreign visitors might actually want to go off the beaten track.
Yeah, exactly.
But when you go off the beaten track, there's not much attention given.
Exactly, yeah. So,
okay.
and I think that's why, because there's perhaps some misunderstanding of when you have Koreans in marketing capacities, catering, focusing on marketing to foreigners, there's always going to be that, not just language gap, but just the cultural understanding gap. If I was living in Vancouver and if I was trying to promote Vancouver tourism to Koreans, I would not hire foreigners to do that. I would hire Koreans. And I think that's one thing that Korea needs to do, is that if you want to effectively cater to international tourism as well as business tourism, you need to hire foreigners in those places, not necessarily to run the whole operation, but in key roles, not just for proofreading and editing, but actual consulting with them and saying, how do you think this design or this type of TV commercial, what can we do to cater to that audience? Unfortunately, there's that gap. And I'm hoping through projects like what we're doing with Daegu Pockets and Galbi Gym, we can maybe get more attention, saying, look, there's a lot of talent, a lot of foreign talent in this country. And I'm not saying myself, but I know a lot of other foreigners here that are very talented, but there's a lot of visa restrictions about what we can do, and our talents are not being fully realized. And we're hoping that we can maybe work together a little bit more with the tourism.
I heard you're planning to publish the pockets in other regions as well?
Yeah, what we'll probably end up doing is we'll maintain the nucleus of the designers and translators and so on out of Daegu, but we would have localized writers and support teams in those other areas. And we already do have early dialogue going on with the contacts in Gwangju and Daejeon, as well as you know, some even smaller areas such as Gumi and Andong. And we'd really like to have a network of localized content like this, instead of having a national magazine or a national newspaper like Korea Herald and these other magazines is helpful. It's very helpful. However, what's missing is the localized stuff. Somebody who's living in Daegu doesn't want to be bombarded with Seoul information because they're not in Seoul very often. So that's why I think we want to get into the localized regional publishing.
Well, I hope the project takes off, certainly. I believe there are also plans to publish them in different languages as well. So the best of luck to you, and really thank you for your endeavors in trying to bring in the foreign community.
Thanks for your appreciation, and thanks for having me on the show.
You can meet Craig White on Arirang TV's Heart to Heart homepage again. We have the VOD service available there. In the meantime, thanks for joining me. I hope to see you again next time.